LAPD's group stalking by helicopter. That's called amplification. And you've got a group stalker in the yellow and black cab. That's called relevant positioning. That's a commercial actor that's group stalking and engaged in federal stalking in violation of Title 18. That is grounds of federal prison. Lucy Santos is going to be federally prosecuted, and it's going to be prosecuted for that impunity that's being exhibited while this entity is acting in concert with her. In concert with LAPD that's flying over and amplifying helicopter activity with simultaneity. This is the third referencing. This is criminal presence. Coming onto the grounds to pick up a third-party group stalker while the entity flies over by helicopter and while the entity paces up and down Alvarado Street is criminal presence. That's vehicle number 7222. This is the entity engaging in what is relevant positioning in concert with the entity that's living at a crime scene. While the entity is engaging in the act of terrorism, crossing path and amplified audible activity of helicopter. This is a third party that is also subject to what is deportation upon federal prosecution. This is a demon, by the way, that knows that they're being documented. This is the type of nervous conduct that they engage in. It's activity creation. The engineered light surrounds. They're monitoring in real time. They're also engaged in Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. Again, you're going to pay attention to this logo because this company is subject to what is criminal and civil prosecution, while this third party, who is a demon, is engaging in state terrorism with the LAPD that's amplifying helicopter activity, and this demon is arriving on the grounds to engage in that criminal conduct. You just saw the engineered light appear underneath a covered structure in the depths of a hallway outside of my front door, and you also witnessed what was a sunset through my bedroom window last night. That's how you know that this is a demon, and this is intentional conduct in the state's pattern of conduct. There's no coincidental presence at this specific environment, and the entity is acting as one. Okay, this vehicle is identification of a group stalker that's using its employees and its business as a means of state surveillance, the malicious engagement in the state's criminal pattern of conduct. All right, I want to make sure that you understand that it's currently 11:09 a.m. And the entity is maintaining criminal presence. This is the same third party that you saw group stalking with access, engaging in state terrorism in concert with the entity that was amplifying plane activity inside of my office. You saw the distance of that plane, and access was the means of audible and light activity while that demon dropped off this demon that's on a cane. While the entity is engaged in the same helicopter activity, the same demons that do the same thing with Center for Better Life coming and picking up third-party group stalkers who are crouched over on canes, and they're group stalking in the engineered light. They're engaging in lying in wait conduct. Let me be clear, the demon possessed do not have a relevant age. You're talking about demon possession, which is relevant to what is a spirit that's on them, and that same malice and that same criminal conduct, that same demonic activity is underway. And that's what you're paying attention to. This commercial actor is going to be prosecuted, and this third party is relevant with regard to producing who this third party is, because they're going to federal prison. And then where deportation is relevant, which I have reason to suspect this may or may not be a natural-born citizen, they will be deported out of this country. Again, it's 11:10 a.m. The entity amplifying helicopter activity, and I'm going to let you know what I was doing on my phone while that entity engaged in that pattern, and doing so on this side of the parking lot as well. The people of the state crossing path over here, which is demonic pacing. You know that traffic on Alvarado is demonic pacing. And that is, again, Careto, who she knows she's being deported. This is impunity that you're witnessing, engaging what is corporate invasion of privacy while light appears on my ceiling, both in the morning and in the afternoon after 4 p.m., while the entity maintains a sunset through my living room window. That's the sex offender, Carmen Careto, who's going to federal prison, who's going to be deported, and who was group stalking with this third party who is doing so through commercial means. Both this commercial actor, vehicle 7222, with the black trim on the bottom and the yellow trim on the top of the car. This is exhibiting a cab service, and they're engaged in state surveillance, as I have already documented Bell Cab and City Cab engaging in. This is the same exact identical P.O.C. in concert with the state that used helicopter as a means of the audible activity creation with simultaneity to my operation of my communication device. This demon's already engaged in surveillance, engaged in Title 18 criminal conduct, while the entity then uses helicopter to engage in audible activity and communication of a threat. All right? This is ongoing concerted activity. This is the third-party documented engagement related to what is Maria Mercado Daisy, who engaged in ongoing surveillance. She's already heavily documented, and she's going to federal prison. All right? I want you to focus on the commercial actor. This is demonic pacing. Carmen Careto, the third party getting into the black vehicle, the movement of the cab vehicle. This is ongoing demonic pacing. This is maintaining, this is the conduct that they're engaging in. They're pacing as one. This is also traffic on Alvarado. The demons are pacing, engaging what is elements. And this is ongoing impunity, which Lucy Santos is going to be prosecuted for. It's going to be under her name at her federal prosecution. That is licensed, by the way, 5-3, substantially. Oh, yeah, that's City Cab. Even better. That's city cab. That license plate starts with 5. By the way, 5 and 3, substantially similar. And nonetheless, that third party is already being documented, and that company is going to be criminally prosecuted and civilly prosecuted for what was just documented on its watch. That is facilitating state surveillance, which is what the people of the state are routinely engaged in, and particularly that company has, which is nothing other than the name of the people of the state. The people of the state acting via city cab, just like you see the people of the state acting via universal waste, just like you see the people of the state acting via Silver Ridge Adult Day Health Care Center, just like you see the people of the state acting via Access, just like you see the people of the state acting via Center for Better Life, just like you see the people of the state acting via speaker companies. Okay? It is currently 11:13 a.m. This is ongoing surveillance. That's all there is, maintaining criminal presence while the entity is amplifying helicopter activity. And let me show you what the entity is monitoring on my phone. First of all, this impossible light activity, which is how you know what city cab is engaged in, state surveillance. This impossible light activity that appears. Exactly what this is. You're looking at what is the diagonal trajectory that's coming underneath the covered structure. It's impossible light. And it's the same exact maintenance of engineered light, okay? It is the pattern of conduct. The entity is indeed continuously coming into, and in real time, that's what Satan does. As I speak to it, so it arrives in a different color. That is speaking to the demon possession and the criminal course of conduct that the genre. So what I'm capturing right now, first of all, this is impossible light activity. And let me show you what else remains. You still see the trajectory of the diagonal light. You're looking at, as I've already pointed out, layers of engineered light. All you are looking at when the entity is engaged in the demonic imitation of a sunrise, like I showed you yesterday in the video analysis that I provided, showing you the engineered light that's on my ceiling in the morning at 9:59 in my bedroom, and the light source is outside of that living room window. The same apartment of a sunrise and a sunset, which is how you know what City Cab is doing today on May 26, 2024, group stalking, and engaged in federal stalking online. But nonetheless, you're looking at what are layers of engineered light. The concentrated layers is the maintenance of the lighter hue of engineered light. This is still impossible light activity. Light is not reaching under a covered structure, engaging in this gymnastics to touch on surfaces, thinking that the entity is hiding its specific environment. That's the deluded mind state of the entity that's group stalking. The engineered light remains engineered light, and it remains impossible placement of that light, no matter what color it is. You can see that very clearly when you are comparing the videos, which I provided for you yesterday, where you're looking at the engineered light that's on my ceiling in the morning, and then you're looking at what's supposed to be sunlight, which is what this more concentrated level, more concentrated color is supposed to be the distinction from the lighter hue. As though, no, that's not light. This is what Satan is suggesting. Oh, no, that's not light. This is light. Okay, this is an admission against this demon inside of apartment number 5. That's what that is, and that's what I'm speaking to. It's impossible light activity. The entity is engaging in what I just documented yesterday, a sunset through my bedroom window. Let's recall what is the light activity. This is why I documented. Captured at 7:31 in the evening. The entity is maintaining engineered light. This has nothing to do with my ceiling fan. You're looking at the engineered light that's touching on my window. The entity is suggesting that sunlight is piercing through closed blinds after being at an upward trajectory, appearing on my ceiling at a downward trajectory. And then also, remember, not just at a downward trajectory, growing across the floor. Remember, this is where it's at on the ceiling at 4 in the afternoon. All right. And the entity is maintaining a light source. Where is it at? Outside of my window. All right. As I'm capturing. Oh, this is group stalking by the entity in helicopter. Yeah, that's the entity that's group stalking while City Cab is group stalking. But I want to make sure that you understand this is what the entity is maintaining as though the sun is going to be present at 7:16 in the afternoon. This is magnification of light that's appearing on the wall. And the engineered light, this is the shadow of the tree appearing on my window. Okay, that's what you're looking at. All you have to do is analyze this. This is impossible light. The shadow of a tree that's at a distance, okay, is appearing on my window. That's engineered light. On its face, you're looking at it. This is magnification of light. The blinds are closed. This is on its surface, impossible light. Okay? The shadow of the tree that's at a distance away from my window, and engineered light is hitting that tree. Hence, the shadow of that tree that the engineered light is touching is appearing on my window because the entity is aiming engineered light into and onto my window. And then through closed blinds, the blinds are closed. Okay? So these small little holes you see are, this is the guise under which engineered light is appearing at a magnified size. And the hour of the time that it's present is also legally relevant. 7:16 in the afternoon, when the entity is engaging in what is at 4 in the afternoon. The light source is outside of my window. 3 hours later, the light source is still in a relevant position to me. I'm not turning around. Maintaining a light source over me. And what did I also point out to you? reminded you yesterday while the entity was maintaining the engineered light over me at, as I showed you in this video, Saturday, May 25th, 2024. It's currently 4:40. And I'm reminding you about the fact that the entity not only is the light source outside of my window at 4 and 5 as I'm capturing, I'm reminding you what I captured in this screen recording yesterday. In the morning, at 9:59 in the morning, this same light activity is on my ceiling in my bedroom. That's what I'm showing you. And this is at 9:59 in the morning. Remember, this is a video we went over yesterday. The entity is group stalking. The demon possessed are engaging in an identical pattern. All you're doing are looking at the ongoing provision of an admission against a whole government that's going to be prosecuted in federal court. And while they repeat that course of conduct, which is how you're prosecuting for group stalking, which is underway by a corrupt government, it's public corruption, while they are doing, this is why I'm able to use the same evidence yesterday, because it's impossible light activity, not only on its face, but by literally analyzing the light activity. You're seeing the shadow of a tree. Okay, let's break this down again. Okay. The shadow of a tree that is not next to my window. The shadow of a tree is at a distance from my window. That engineered light, remember the pattern, whatever the engineered light touches, so it creates that pattern of that object on both on the inside and on the outside, because you've also seen the pattern of the window appear on the outside of the building. So the entity is suggesting that sunlight is ricocheting off the window, creating the shape of the window on building 1818 outside. And then engineered light, so-called sunlight, is also coming through my closed blinds and appearing both above my head at, again, 9:59 in the morning is what I documented in February 2024. And then also, as I'm showing you yesterday, because it has nothing to do with sunlight, it has nothing to do with time of year analysis, I'm showing you what is engineered light. The same engineered light appearing outside of my door this morning. And it's the same exact analysis. That's engineered light that's appearing underneath the covered structure. And the entity is suggesting that that would be the sun. While that asininity is underway, the entity would like to suggest, oh no, that's the sun and that's sunlight. Okay, well, that's asininity on its face, because sunlight is never going to occur at that position in that manner. In addition to that, you're looking at what is an illusion. Engineered light in a lighter hue remains. The engineered light in a more concentrated hue remains. Both are still there, layers of engineered light. And this is what I'm pointing at also, is because of the duration of time analysis. The engineered light is touching my window. You're seeing the shadow of a tree that's at a distance away from my window. As it touches my window, you're looking at what is evidence of engineered light. I've shown you the character of that light. What does that light do when it touches something? It's engaging what is not characteristic of sunlight. And then the duration of time, the locations of that engineered light, speaking to what's not the natural environment. On its face, federal prosecution for group stalking by address, Kim Jong and Sean Jong, who are going to be deported to Korea after they go to federal prison for the impunity that I'm documenting, while I am to date still capturing impossible light activity and group stalkers coming onto the ground using commercial means, group stalking with the state, that is flying over and around my apartment to communicate a threat while I can hear them, while they're also doing so communicating a threat with everything that I'm uploading on the internet. And so again, this is what I'm capturing, because I just want to go over why I opened this video. The engineered light that you saw outside of my door right now on the ground, it is the same exact pattern of stalking with engineered light that's appearing on my ceiling. It is as impossible, okay? And I'm also giving you a very vivid image of how it's impossible, because I even showed you this pattern that the entity put on my ceiling in my bedroom at 9 in the morning. While that has nothing to do with sunlight, because at 9 in the morning, the sunrise is outside of my living room window. My living room window. This is supposed to be the sunlight right here. While engineered light is at 9:59 in the morning. This video was captured at 9:59 in the morning on February, and I'm doing a screen recording of it. It's appearing on my living room floor. This is supposed to be the sunlight right there. But it's not. It's engineered light. Okay, in the same way that the light appearing on my ceiling is engineered light. And then you're also looking at what is the, and this is where you're looking at. This is the engineered light, as though sunlight is appearing, coming through closed blinds, and it's appearing on the floor. That same window, same closed blinds, absence of the light source outside of my bedroom window, but yet it's appearing on my ceiling. And then the point of this video is that because this is what the entity was doing yesterday in my side of my apartment at 4 in the afternoon, as though, again, that's on its face, speaking to the pattern of stalking that is remaining with the engineered light. That's what lets you know is so crucial with this engineered light. And who is also stalking while that engineered light is present, what you just saw. the demon-possessed law enforcement agencies that are group stalking in the unnatural environment, where the state is stalking directly in the specific environment. Lucy Santos is group stalking, and she's going to be prosecuted for the ongoing impunity that is documented against her while City Cab comes onto the ground to act with the entity that's flying over my apartment in a helicopter, which is audible activity and relevant positioning. And what was significant about what I captured, the entity is today, May 26, 2024, flying over my apartment as I create, again, a snippet. This is a shorter version just showing the impossible light activity. That's the purpose of this video that I made. So you can see it appear. The engineered light is already present. This is impossible light activity. The entity provides a more concentrated level. So this is what you're going to see right here as it arrives in real time. Okay, and it gets brighter right there. The engineered light and the lighter hue remains. This is layering of engineered light. The demonic, the psychopath, the inept, okay, the woefully unprepared and demon-possessed, obsessed, psychopathic group stalker, all of that is relevant by what the entity is doing. You are not getting out of the P.O.C. You are not more intelligent than the targeted individual. That's why you had to resort to gang stalking, all of you, and together you're defeated and exposed. So the entity is engaging in what is concentrated engineered light, as though that's going to disappear the engineered light that is still equally impossible in a lighter shade. And that's what I want you to be able to identify with your eyes, because that's exactly what you're looking at. All right, both layers of light remain. Sunlight is not going to appear underneath the covered structure. Again, okay, this is covered. The sun that's above us, the sun that is above us is not going to do gymnastics to reach underneath this covered walkway where it would be all shaded. And then the entity, while it is listening, keeping me under surveillance, monitoring documentation, and the evidence of that, because that which is impossible to ever occur, then it's occurring in real time while I speak to the impossible. More of the impossible happens. That's an admission, indeed, like I stated in this video, against Kim Jong, a demon possessed group stalker who is monitoring me while living in relevant position. That's a very serious federal offense. It's terrorism, in fact, and she's going to federal prison for that. While that crime scene is coexisting, literally growing in time, which is the communication of a threat to my life and my safety and my overall well-being, my mental well-being, psychologically tormenting me while I'm subject to this, and I'm documenting this. Because this is what the ordinary target individual is subject to, lacking the language to prove it or establish it or even describe it. Okay, this is what the entity is doing while they are group stalking in a helicopter. And so this is what I documented. The entity is flying over my apartment. That's evidence against City Cab. You just saw City Cab group stalking out on the grounds of this crime scene. All right, the entity that's willy-nilly making themselves a part of an ongoing crime committed by a public entity that, like I said, they are foolishly doing it and generously as it's being documented right now. This is conduct that the future, the rest of this country will not want anything to do with. They will never be foolish enough to be caught on video. Group stalking with the government that's foolish enough to engage in it, where the federal government has been put on alert as to what you are doing or what probable cause to reveal what it is that you are doing against American citizens. No other state is going to foolishly walk into the prosecution that California has. And that's also going to be secured through what is the federal prosecution, which shall serve to deter future criminal conduct that is terrorizing the lives of American citizens. Okay, it is currently 11:25 a.m. I'm going to publish because I don't have it typed up right now, but I have it here. Okay. It's just, but that's fine. I don't have any secrets. The entity is group stalking. I keep note of it. 10:48 in the morning. I just jotted down. The entity flies over my apartment, 8:46. Flying over my apartment again, 10:32. Flying over my apartment again, 10:48 a.m. So this is where my notes are. That's what I was referencing, but I was going to put it in a more formal appearance, but that's fine. Like this, which was yesterday, but that's fine. You can look at my evidence. You know, it is what it is. The entity is flying over my apartment in real time as I start capturing this this video. That might be prophetic, but the entity is at this time as I'm creating this snippet right here of this video that's focusing in on the light activity. The moment that I create it, the moment that I begin to upload it, the entity flies over my apartment. And who's in relevant position? They're group stalking with that entity. They were already in the path. All right. This is that lying in wait. This is that surveillance. And it is unthinkable that the entity does so through commercial means. And this is a demon. This is a group stalker. This is the people of the state that sought to maliciously target you and terrorize you and psychologically torment you, and thinking that no one will ever believe you because you're delivering a package, because you're picking someone up and giving them a ride, because you're picking up an elderly lady and you're a do-gooder. That's the malice. You're not going to forget this impossible light activity that you just saw appearing on my patio. Okay, and that's the prosecution of City Cab. And that driver's going to federal prison. Okay? It is ongoing terrorism. It is currently 11:27 a.m. on Sunday, May 26, 2024, and this is POC.